Oh, um, yeah, I'm going home to Zimbabwe for Christmas. That's my home country. But a country I'd like to visit, that's interesting. It's, I think, between Kenya and Tanzania for some reason I'm drawn to those countries. So it would be one of them. I'd say Kenya is probably the top at the moment. And it's I mean, Africa is amazing. It's beautiful, and it's a pity that we are where we are with so many of us living in the diaspora, but there's also a lot of us who are wanting to come back and build Africa, with the experience and skills that we have, together with those who have been living there for so long. It's just the beauty and the nature, when you think of the sunsets and the animals and the people, as African people, we give, even if you have $1, you'll break it and give somebody 50 cents, you'll share your loaf of bread, you'll share your meal. And it's home, it's coming home, so whether it's Zimbabwe, whether it's Kenya, Tanzania, it's going to visit Africa. We've lived abroad for over 24 years now. We've traveled around Europe, but we like to go and travel around Africa. That I would say is our family goal, is to be able to travel around Africa and see its beauty. And we always feel that the grass is green on the other side. And yes, we have gone there, and we have, in one way or the other, achieved those types of goals. But home is home, and Africa is home. We talk about Mama Africa, and those are your roots. That's an interesting one, because there's so many different dishes, that what did I say is underrated? My mind is going to dishes I know that my family like, but I don't really eat myself. That's why I'm thinking, if I think of the dried fish, or if I think of the mopani worms, they can make good meals as well. But I'd say the pap, we call it sadza, people eat that almost every day instead of rice or pasta and things like that. The Italians love pasta, and we love pap. So having pap and the green vegetables, I eat a lot more plant-based meals. So when I see my mom, she's growing, the green vegetables, and like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to have that, because it tastes differently in Europe. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same smell or the same taste. And she's like, no, but I want a piece of chicken. And I'm like, no, we've seen how they grow the chickens. The chickens are meant to be grown in 6 weeks, and they get grown in 4 weeks, because they inject them. So she's thinking about having, a chicken or a piece of beef on a plate, and I'm just thinking, the green vegetable, because it's healthy and it tastes well. But people do eat that, and then they mix it with peanut butter as well. So I can't really think of anything that's underrated. I'm thinking more of the things that we do enjoy eating. My free time. So I like to swim. I may go down to the beach, or I may go out. It's my birthday coming up. I know my husband, my son, they normally get me a voucher for a spa day. I might listen to podcasts more than reading. I don't read as much because I fall asleep. So I do tend to, listen to podcasts. Or I like sewing. I like baking. So those are things, and spending time with my friends. I'd say that's how I spend my, enjoy my downtime. So it's maybe going to be 2 years ago. I applied to, it was a TV show, and I'm trying to think of what it was. And they were looking for people who would make an impact in the community, socially and, from a sustainable point of view. And so I applied as a business coach, where I would, my vision was to have 20 women, 10 of whom were Maltese, and 10 who would have been foreigners. So they could be from Europe, they could be from Africa, they could be from the UK, doesn't matter, because it is something that's it's a big issue in Malta. It's a small island, so you can understand with the influx of foreigners coming in, there's been a lot of angst and things like that. So my idea was to bring these two groups of people together in business, and they would partner with each other and learn more about each other's culture and how they could make a difference in their community. And so I was shortlisted to maybe 20 people. I went along. I had to wait for maybe like 3 hours because I took a break. They had a lunch break and came back. And then I was interviewed, and they couldn't see how my business would make that impact. And standing there, presenting yourself, showing them what you can do because you believe in your goal. When I left, the host said, I need to interview you. And at that point, it had been months and months of work, behind the scenes. They would ask you for information. You had to present it in different ways. It was just a lot of, administration work with the company. So going on that day and having them doubt what I believed in, it made me realize that this is not the platform for me. And one of the judges did say that if it was a business TV show, it would have been different than where I was at that point. So it was very humbling in the sense that you're standing before 5 people who can make a decision about whether your dream is going to take place or not. And as much as I believed in myself and I answered their questions, and they didn't believe that women would have low self-confidence. Where was this coming from? It's like, I'd like to have a conversation with them. So it made me feel that this wasn't for me. But I was also realizing that this is not the right place for me. And so when I walked off and the host came, and I was a bit emotional, and I said, can I have 2 minutes to myself? And he said, no, we like drama for TV. Come on. And the camera just, was put on me to give feedback of what happened. I was choking back tears, not from the fact that I didn't go through, but from the fact that I want to make a difference in women's lives. I want to bring people together. Yes, we're from different cultures, but at the end of the day, we're human. Everybody has gone through a journey. Everybody faces different challenges. So how can we, it's imploding, instead of looking at what the government is doing or where things are going wrong in your own life or what's happening in the world, we then take it out on each other, and the first thing is people who are different to you. So that was quite humbling in the sense that, it made me realize that as humans, there's more work to be done. And there are people who are working on it, don't get me wrong. I have friends who are in anti-racism groups and, working to strengthen ties between foreigners and Maltese. And Maltese people are very much like African people. They're very giving, they're very loving. They would give you that 50 cents, if you are struggling. And I've met amazing people as well. But my idea was just how can I push this forward even more so. So I'd say that was quite a humbling experience, but also quite an eye-opener, is that it wasn't my time. My success may have been delayed, but it's not denied. And that the right time will come where we'll be able to make that journey. That anything is possible. That if you set your mind to achieving your goals, it can take a year, it can take 5 years. That you can achieve it. That if you're looking for role models, we might not see that quite often in our own communities, that I am that role model for you, that I'm very supportive. I will hold you accountable. I will ask you difficult questions, but I respect your answers. It's held in a safe space that's confidential. So that's more than one thing about me. But yeah, in a nutshell, very transparent, open and honest. My late father used to say to me as a young girl, that God should be the center of your life and the foundation of your life. And when we got married, we married very young. He said, make sure that God is at the center of your life, having that foundation and your values. So I always remember those words that my father taught me, and that's what I bring into my business and my life today.
Today Africa Podcast is a podcast series where we interview African entrepreneurs and professionals and share the stories behind their businesses. In each interview, we ask how they got started, how they grew, and how they run their business today. The stories are inspiring and also provide specific advice and insight into starting a business. By sharing these stories, we want to help others get started.